These were some of the images that show the stark difference in our environment that we all have experienced during these lockdowns. We suddenly saw clear blue skies and breathed clean, life-inspiring air amid greener, calmer environment. Even in our densest cities and towns, the air smelled fresh, fragrant, and sunlight dazzled without getting blocked by filthy smog. But what was unfortunate about it is that it took a pandemic to experience that was always there for us, only shrouded by the unhealthy smog created by our own ever-growing greed and mindless acts. I am Kamal Narayan, CEO of Integrated Health and Wellbeing Council, a not-for-profit social impact initiative to promote health for all. Health that comes from good air, good food, and good water for all. Welcome to our special Facebook Live on Environment Day today to discuss what COVID-19 can teach us about cleaning our air. If this coronavirus pandemic has come as sudden blow, swiftly engulfing the entire humanity by its brutal contagiousness and killing many mercilessly, the pandemic of air pollution has always been there, killing unhurriedly, under the radar, but equally ruthlessly. The World Health Organization estimates air pollution kills 7 million people worldwide every year. 70 lakh people, largely as a result of increased mortality from stroke, heart disease, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, lung cancer, and acute respiratory infections. In India alone, polluted air killed 12.4 lakh people in 2017. Those who live in the national capital or its adjoining cities recall the winters more for their burning eyes and throats and endless bouts of cough than the cold itself. But unlike COVID-19, that is more likely to inflict greater complication and mortality among elderly, air pollution is more indiscriminate about age. Children have been clearly identified to have very high health risk of bad air, as the extended exposure to polluted air can have catastrophic impact on their tender lungs, among many other health hazards. And this is heartening to that children from across the globe are now mobilizing to demand for cleaner air and are coming out to own up the responsibility to do their bit and exhort others to protect their future. We at ISW Council began our India's very own children movement for good air in November 2019, when Delhi and the entire North India was again reeling under apocalyptic smog, creating health emergency for all. And we are proud that this movement is now getting bigger and bigger. Before we move forward, I would request my team to show some of the glimpse of our last endeavor towards mobilizing children for good air.
Industry leaders and students were brought under a single umbrella by the Integrated Health and Wellness Council to raise awareness on the issues of rising pollution. The platform also felicitated individuals and organizations that are driving the change needed to create a better environment.
ISW Council is proud that this movement has gained further momentum. And today's program too is aimed at making the voice of our future heard by everyone, loud and clear, that our children are ready to take charge of their future And if we can't give them a perfect word, we should also not dare to make it worse anymore. So let's hear the voices that matter most for today and for tomorrow. I would hand over this session now to my colleague Himani to invite these young ambassadors of clean air to share their thoughts with us.
Thank you, sir. So, I would like to invite the young ambassadors of clean air to share their views on the clean and green environment. So, I would like, with our young representatives of clean air, to speak a few words and inspire many others, adolescents, to contribute towards clean air to protect our Mother Earth. So, first, I would like to invite Lissy Priya. Lissy Priya, over to you.
Hi everyone, my name is Lissy Priya. I'm 8 years old. I'm an Indian climate activist and the founder of the Child Movement. Thank you so much IHW Council for inviting me here to speak in this program. Coronavirus is the testing time for our leaders, and it is the testing time for our nature and human beings. 2020 is a very crucial year to decide the future of our planet. But due to this COVID-19, it weakened our movement, but not our spirits. I had to cancel lots of my planned schedules, events, programs, activities, campaign, etc. But I still continue to plant trees nearby roads, places to my home. It's really hard to manage these lockdowns. People always tell me that you are too young to get involved in such activism. But I prove them that it doesn't matter to make a difference. I'm big or small, it doesn't matter. I am a girl child. I'm strong, I'm smart, I'm intelligent, I'm brave. Many children and youth inspire from me. Few months back, I went to Madrid, Spain in the month of December for 2 weeks to attend the United Nations Climate Conference 2019, where everyone known as COP25 means conference of parties. I went there to tell the world leaders that this is the time to do action and it is a real climate emergency. They must act now to save our planet and our future. I also met United Nations Secretary General and Greta Thunberg during that program. I met many world leaders in there. I've also heard many speeches from our leaders that they will do this, will do that, will tell them not to do, will hear all your voice, we will. But at the end, COP25 was failed. Just waste of time and money spending for 2 weeks in the one of the most expensive city of the world. Our policymakers from around the world just get to hear every year in these COPs and doing nothing concrete for our future. Our leaders telling us for the last 25 years, even before I was born. When I was born, our leaders already met 16 times in the COPs, and the world already knew about the bad effects of climate change. Our policymakers from around the world just get to hear every year in these COPs and doing nothing concrete for our future. And also in the World Economic Forum 2020, we told our leaders to abandon the fossil fuel economy. Let's stop telling something and doing something. Children are more smart and more concerned than our leaders. What we want is climate action now, without wasting any more time.
अच्छा
तो इसमें कोविदा भारद्वाज भी है.
I think you all heard in the news about Australia bushfire. More than 1 billion animals has died. Millions of trees has gone. I'm really very sad. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't even take my food. Many children lost their homes. But this is the real effect of climate change. Our leaders don't have time to listen us, and they are just busy in blaming each other instead of finding a long-term solution. You can just see in Delhi how air pollution is so dangerous, and even children can't move out of the home. I'm worried about the health of school children and small babies. Government announced that there would be holidays for 3 days and again for 5 days, but this is not the solution. Our leaders are just busy in blaming each other instead of finding a long-term solution. They are just telling the speech, they are not doing any action. I want our world leaders to do more action. Otherwise, our future and our planet would be dying soon. They must act now to save our planet and our future. That's why I invent a symbolic device called Sukifu. Sukifu means survival kit for the future. With the support of IT jungle Professor Chandan Gosser, we have developed the device. My device, Sukifu, and me wants to send a strong message about the environmental degradation and resilience to the whole world. It will also give attention to the world leaders, scientists, experts, pollution control board who are responsible for our safe future. My device will also give fresh air to our lungs, and it will also save our health from high air pollution. I'm only a child yet, but I know all the money spent on war if we spend on finding environmental answers, ending poverty and giving education, then what a wonder places Earth would be. Millions of people are planting millions of trees to save our planet and our future, but some leaders are destroying our beautiful planet and our beautiful future. This is not fair. And also, the hopes, the dreams of millions of children like me in the wars, losing their parents, or children becoming homeless due to danger of wars. So, I would like to appeal to all the world leaders to stop wars and conflict immediately in the interest of millions of children of the world. When I was just around 6 years old, I have got a chance to attend one United Nations disaster conference in Mongolia. It was my life-changing event. I have got lots of inspiration, new knowledge from the people who tell the speech during that program. And I have met many world leaders in there. After I returned back from Mongolia in 2018, I started my organization called the Child Movement to call the world leaders to take immediate climate action to save our planet and our future. Greta Thunberg greatly influenced me in February 2019. Since then, at Parliament House of India, I'm standing and I'm telling to our Honorable Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, and our MPs to pass the climate change law as soon as possible from the paper to become action. If they pass the climate change law, then we can control the carbon emission and greenhouse gases. I demand our government to include climate change as a compulsory subject in our school education curriculum in India. Students must plant minimum 10 trees every year to pass their final examination. In India, we have 350 million students. If 350 million students plant minimum 10 trees every year, then we would plant 3.5 billion trees. Trust me, India will be green in after 5 years. Animals are dying due to plastics, so please do not throw garbage or plastics on streets, ocean, river, or seas, or anywhere else. Children must tell their parents that they shouldn't cut trees. If they cut one tree, then plant minimum 10 or 20 trees. Don't use car or bikes every time. Children must tell their parents that they should walk if it's nearby. I'll fight until my goal achieved. We are unstoppable and another world is possible and the change is possible. Today, I want to share something with everyone living in this world from my little heart. We all know we are facing a pandemic on one side and flood, drought, heat waves, cyclones, etc. on another side. Now, this is the time to wake up. This is the time to open your eyes. This is the time to send your children and grandchildren for the fight for their survival and for their own future. The best gift parents can give to their children is not a beautiful house, expensive cars, lots of money. The best gift parents can give to their children is a beautiful planet. To give this planet, you have to empower yourself. If you can empower yourself, then you can empower your family. If you can empower your family, then you can empower your neighborhood. If you can empower your neighborhood, then you can empower your community. If you can empower your community, then you can empower your country, your state. If you can empower your state, then you can empower your country. If you can empower your country, then you can empower the whole world. Empowerment means independent. Independent means freedom. Freedom is when you can protect your land and environment. Freedom is when you can protect your children's future and culture. Freedom is when no one can discriminate you on basis of caste, creed, color, sex, or any other differences. Freedom is when you can read and write. Freedom is when you are out of hunger. Freedom is when we are all together in this fight. Fight for your freedom. Thank you, Jai Hind. Sanale Manipurna Yarvik. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, Resipriya, for sharing your views and opinion. I hope the message has reached to a larger audience. So now I would like to invite.
Just hold on. Let me, Lisipriya, your words were very powerful. We can see the kind of response, is coming from this Facebook Live also. And your line that what are, the people like us, the parents can actually gift to their children is not a beautiful home or not a, expensive car or expensive toys. If they really want to gift something, give something for their children, it has to be a beautiful, greener, cleaner planet. And these words will definitely reach to each and everyone and should reach every one of us. Thank you so much, Lisipriya, for your wonderful thoughts and the kind of work you are doing, not only in India, but also in the advocacy of good air to the global platforms. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's have our second ambassador.
So I would like to invite Prachi Oberoi from VVDAV Public School. Let's see what she has to share.
Hello everyone, happy Environment Day to all of you. Firstly, thank you Lisipriya for your very moving and passionate appeal. You're truly an inspiration. So friends, a few weeks ago, something magical occurred. We breathed fresh air, we saw a rainbow, we saw mountains from our cities, we saw more stars and more birds than we ever thought existed. But friends, this thought is at best delusional. For 1 week down and we are back to roads, back to reclaim our health. Time and again, nature gave us so many warnings, but we ignored them all. Advisories were issued against air pollution, but we ignored them all. Our loved ones are diagnosed with diseases like asthma, bronchitis, but what did we do? We fed them with tons of medicines. We never realized that we had to provide medication to our air and not to those people. The pandemic has shown us a glimpse that yes, we can heal our earth. We thought that it will be impossible and irreversible. But pandemic taught us it is possible. Air quality can improve. Ganga can be clean. Yamuna can be clean. All we need to do is to do some self-introspection and action. When we are in the midst of the self-introspection process, we will realize the darkness we are living in. We will understand that lives are more important than lifestyles. It is our need which is limited, but it is only our greed which is unlimited. You have to realize that change starts with you. Like Martin Luther said, I have a dream. I too have a dream to reclaim the paradise on earth. Just like we have a new economic order after every few years, I have designed a new environment order. Here is my 7-pillar version of environment order. The first pillar to this should be to make green schools a compulsion. It should be mandatory for the students to participate in activities aiming towards the healing of our environment and should be awarded marks for the same. Secondly, diffusing pollution loads in urban areas by creating better job opportunities in the hometown of migrants. Large-scale awareness programs are necessary because, as we all know, awareness is the key to change. So several radio talk shows, advertisements by famous personalities, outreach programs should be put into action. Making vertical gardens a compulsion, we can also implement practices like Miyawaki and others in different areas. Miyawaki is a technique pioneered by Japanese botanist Akira Miyawaki that ensures that plant growth is 10 times faster and the resulting plantation is 30 times denser than usual. Strict execution of 33% forest cover concept, it can be done in such a way that the most root levels of the district have a strict policy on green cover. Every now and then, we see many innovative ideas coming our way at national and international level competition. It should be ensured that these radical youth ideas are put to action. And last, but surely not the least, proper waste management by all the industries and charging a high penalty for violations of the order. Using this particular platform, I call out to everyone out there to come together, to work together, to heal our earth, our air, our planet. We will make sure to prove that we do not need a pandemic to heal our air. All what we need is a collective action and 7.8 billion good air warriors. This is Prachi Uberoi, a good air warrior from Veda Vyasa DAV Public School, signing off. Thank you so much.
Wonderful, Prachi. Again, the solution in form of new environment order, which you have demonstrated here.
Yes, sir.
Definitely a lot of things to take forward, and they are practical. Our schools can definitely become green schools.
Yes.
And there is a lot to do. And not only schools, all other aspects, our roofs can very well become small gardens and can help in the oxygen production as well as making the overall contribution towards cleaner air. Thank you so much for your wonderfully crafted thoughts, and we definitely look forward that young ambassadors like you will make this point reach to everyone, that to get a cleaner air, the basic right of every human and any living creature on this earth, nobody require a pandemic.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Prachi. So the next young warrior we have is Vrinda Arora. She's from Tagore International School, Vasant Vihar. Over to you, Vrinda.
Thank you. Mother Earth, as addressed by millions of people, sounds extremely nice to our ears. But are these true feelings or just some words? Good afternoon, everyone. I am Brinda Arora from Tagore International School, Vasant Vihar, and today I would be sharing my views on how pandemic coronavirus has helped reduce air pollution. On the present day, it affects me deeply looking at the statistics and the present scenario. Where are we heading to? Giving different names? Carbon emission, global warming, carbon footprint? They are nothing but different forms of damages done over a period of time, resulting in the despair of the current world. As we all know, novel coronavirus, or let me say noble coronavirus, has steered around the world. This pandemic has surely cleared the skies temporarily, although a near halt in normal life and economic activities is no one's idea of a good way to reduce pollution, and this clearing will be short-lived with emissions sure to return to. But there is no city or one country in particularly responsible for this. I am sure adequate measures are taken by the government during this lockdown. Let's talk about odd even plans or a complete shutdown of industries. All this has resulted in an overall overhaul of the environment. All of us have witnessed a cleaner environment and have witnessed the skies which were once covered under the thick layer of smog. The revitalized water bodies have healed themselves with their natural phenomena. And imagine once all this was a major concern for the governing bodies. Crores of rupees were planned to be spent on cleaning rivers. Well, we all tell children, don't worry, all is in hand. We are taking required measures. When? How? How do we believe? As we hardly see any work. Seems like false promises. Yes, planting trees is of course a great plan, but not enough as a plan that could save us all. It is not the time to lower the emissions. It is the time to put a halt on these emissions completely. We need a sustainable world. All this should outrage everyone out there. Let's stop blaming each other and let's harness each other's capacities. We all should face this together. Well, the world is not a commodity and our mistakes shouldn't cost the earth. Today, I have a question for all of you. Did we really need a pandemic to solve the climate crisis? Can't we just use our only options to heal the nature? This pandemic coronavirus has given us enough time to think and act wisely to grow, but not at the cost of damaging the earth. We need to curb pollution on a long-term basis. We can't solve the climate crisis or clean the pollution that ails without the same sense of shared responsibility and action. Thank you.
Wonderful, Brinda. I just can't get this sentence out of my mind that the word is not a commodity. The word is really not a commodity. And this noble coronavirus, which you say noble coronavirus, has made us realize that if we are considering this word as a commodity, this commodity is not going to last long. And if this commodity dries up, everything is gone. Thank you so much for bringing such a powerful thought towards the discourse of cleaning our air, protecting our environment. So we look forward to hear another young warrior, Himani.
Now we have Ansh Gupta from St. Columbus School. Over to you, Ansh.
Good morning, everyone. Short-sightedness is the biggest mistake humans can commit, only seeing in the short term and ignoring the long term. Similarly, we, mankind, have done the same thing. We have left behind the environment just looking at our economic benefits. Our priorities were set wrong. We have done wrong. I, Ansh Gupta of St. Columbus School, want all of you to see the lack of environmental planning in expanding our economy is killing millions of people today and is going to come in a much worse form if we do not take it seriously and accept it. We are the citizens of the world and children of Mother Earth. Be optimistic even in the harshest of the conditions, because when you look for positivity in things, it does really bring out the good in them. The current pandemic has caused a lot of damage to the people. I want to walk you through an angle which says that the pandemic has allowed our Mother Nature to heal. It is now our opportunity to seize it. We have to help our Mother Nature recover 100% and make the world a better place to live. As lockdown have shut down all the places and services of the world, the levels of air pollution have fallen down drastically. According to this year's air pollution index, cities like Delhi have witnessed a drastic 60% decline in air pollution since the beginning of the lockdown. But what happens after this lockdown ends? Does everything become normal? Does the air increase in pollution again? This will have a very negative impact on the current COVID 19 pandemic. Scientists suggest that air pollution particles may be acting as vehicles for viral transmission. These new findings have a significant impact on how government will open lockdown slowly, because in overcoming this pandemic we have to keep in mind that our economy as well as an environment both are in perfect balance. An increase in just 1 microgram per cubic meter corresponds to a 15% increase in amount of deaths due to coronavirus. The trap of this virus has been stimulated by air pollution, and many research has have been conducted. 71 provinces of Italy and 120 cities of China say that there is an increase of fatalities of coronavirus pandemic due to increase in air pollution. And cities which do not meet the World Health Organization pollution standards have faced a much worse scenario, like our own state, New Delhi. Now, what adds fuel to the fire in case of India is that out of world's most 20 polluted cities, the maximum are in India. It is a great threat to us, and we have to recover from it. There are many people in our country who face asthma and cardiorespiratory problems. The coronavirus pandemic has hit them most hard. There will be more patients of air pollution and corona pandemic both, which will increase a lot of pressure on the medical condition of our country. This is not good for us. People, wake up. Air pollution has caused the Amazon to burn, bushfires in Australia, and a lot of words things such as 55 billion tons of the Arctic and Greenland have melted away. The water pollution level is increasing. The water level is increasing, which has led to many floods and many cyclones all over the world, and we know its repercussions. I want to urge the government and my fellow people today to urge the government to take the necessary actions to combat the coronavirus as well as protect our environment. The automobile sector as well as the manufacturing need to be revolutionized. The electric cars need to be increased. They should be promoted by the government, and people should support everyone in this. I conclude myself by saying that people listening to me, rise from your state of slumber, harness our collective energy, and work towards a better future. Because for a better future, we need a healthy and cleaner nature. Thank you.
Wow, once this was wonderful. And what is more important here is that you brought a very important aspect of how this air pollution can add to the fatality of a pandemic. And you have very well highlighted the areas which have seen greater damage because they were always or they could not tackle their air pollution problem. I'm sure your message of insisting on having a better environmental planning when we are going forward for our economic development should reach to everyone who is concerned to it. We are also going to have a discussion on your another topic, that how the automobile industry is going to help and act in a manner which help us extending the benefits of this pandemic in terms of cleaner air. Thank you so much, Ans, and we look forward to hear another young ambassador of good air.
Thank you, Ansh. So the next I would like to invite Neonika Roy from VVDAV Public School. Over to you, Neonika.
Nobody can teach you to love and respect the Mother Nature, for good air warriors are born within. Hello everyone, this is Neonika Roy from Veda Vyasa Public School, New Delhi. I am an 8th grader and have been honored to have gotten a chance to amplify my voice on this talk show panel. So, let me break down the statistics for you. In India, as of 2016 data, at least 140 million people breathe air that is over the safe data of the WHO. If we break the statistics even further, Delhi air pollution stands at 70 and about 12.4 lakh deaths in India. Now that we have the major scrape of the statistic laid in front of us, I ask, who is responsible for it? Who is responsible for the deaths, for the people who lose their loved ones, for the people who are suffering from loss? None. We are becoming so blind in our own needs and greeds that we are willingly destructing our Mother Nature. Now, let's just gather everything and find solutions to these problems. Children should be well educated about the environment and the repercussions of its depletion, as they are the young youth, the young good air warriors of the future. Most importantly, they should be taught that we do not have to save the environment for just our own future's sake, but the continuity of the entire human race and for the sake of our Mother Nature. People are so blind and cruel that they're clearing out forests for their land requirements. They are not paying attention to the daily activities such as burning of husks in villages, throwing out wastes in rivers from their vehicles or even the streets. People should be well learned enough to know that these small things that they do are harming the earth, the Mother Earth, to a great, great extent. Now, for the people who thank coronavirus, the pandemic, to that it has solved our problem of air pollution, I put out there that we do not need we do not need a pandemic to solve the problem of air pollution. All we need is joint hands for a greener and brighter future for everyone of our own kind. Actually, we all are good air warriors within. Deep inside, we all are nature lovers and admirers. All we need is to go out there and unleash our inner air warriors to show that air warriors are not someone special, but someone who once stood amongst you. All I can say now is wake up before it's too late. We have depended upon Mother Nature for ages, and now it's our turn to return her favor to see it dance in joy again. We shall start today. Small initiatives, small steps to a beautiful outcome. Granted, it will take time, but I am sure that the efforts will be worth and even more. Lastly, I would take your leave by presenting a small self-composed quote. Remember that healing is much, much harder than destructing. This is Neonika Roy again. Thank you very much.
Wonderful, Nayonika. What a beautiful thoughts, and your energy has always been infectious. We saw
Thank
you
you so
on
much.
the stage of our last Good Year Summit also. And
Thank
we
you so much.
very well remember people giving a standing ovation for really long.
Thank you so much.
Your energy, your work, and I'm sure in your school, in your home, in your neighborhood, you are trying to do what best we all can do to protect this mother nature.
Sure.
And I'm sure your message that this is the high time we return to what we have been taking from this planet will reach, and will reach to everyone effectively. Thank you so much for joining us today. Let's
Thank
hear
you.
the other good air warrior, what their thoughts are.
So now I would like to call Dhani Garg from Vikas Bharati School. Over to you, Dhani.
Hello and a very happy World Environment Day to you. I, Dhani Garg of class 6C from Vikas Bharati Public School, Delhi, is here to talk about the changes in our climate due to Corona lockdown. As we all are aware that we are going through Corona pandemic, which has proved to have brought unprecedented and exceptional changes to the whole humanity. Whole world has to be locked down due to its highly contractual effects. People are adapting new ways of social distancing and increased personal hygiene. Our movements are very restricted and we all are fighting this disease by staying at our homes. Yet, like every cloud, it also has a silver lining attached to it. We have been hearing media reports from various countries telling us that the air quality has been increased many folds because of less or no human industrial activities. India, in specific, has gained in this regard too much of the extent. More specifically, my city, Delhi, which normally records a very high number of air pollutants, is now experiencing clear skies and beautiful sunsets. We are starting to see more stars in the night sky because of less air pollutants. Delhi has been recording below 100 levels of 2.5 and 10 pm particulates, which are the main cause of air pollution and air pollution related diseases. Speaking about River Yamuna, lifeline for people of Delhi, has cleaned its waters by herself because of no industrial waste being dumped into the river because of coronavirus pandemic. All this has been a blessing in these tough times of a disease that is wreaking havoc all around. But the important question is, do we need a pandemic to have cleaner air for us? Or to have a sky full of stars? Or to breathe in oxygen-rich environments? It is a question that we all should ask from ourselves and try to get the answers with a collective and environment-friendly development once all these difficulties get over. In the end, I would like to thank IHW Council for giving me the opportunity and a platform to talk about something that is related to all of us, a cleaner and breathable air. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Sorry, I was on mute. So thank you so much, Dhani, for your wonderful thoughts. And it is interesting that you put them in a presentation and gave them, showed them with evidences. If we are talking about our rivers are getting cleaner, we can all see that. And this is the best message which all of us can take from this pandemic. And definitely this pandemic should not go waste. No calamity should go waste. And this is the message I believe will go far and wide today on this World Environment Day. Thank you so much. Let's move on to other good air ambassador.
So the next we have is Zara Shirpurwala from Tagore International School, Vasant Vihar. Over to you, Zara.
Yes, thank you. So I hope you all can see my screen. So, good afternoon. My name is Zara Shirpurwala, and as you know that we're stuck in the situation of a pandemic, that we're in lockdown. We can't even go out of the house. We can't live the life we used to live. But in turn, the lockdown is helping us with cleaner and breathable air and also blue skies. And that is when this question arises. That is pandemic the only solution to have cleaner air for kids and citizens? Firstly, how has the pandemic helped keep the air breathable and clean? Before the lockdown, industries released harmful gases in the air. The many vehicles on the road emitted a lot of pollution. Air, sea and land transportations were also causing pollution. The heavy use of fertilizers in agriculture was also a major contributor to fine particulate air pollution. And during mining operations, the process to extract minerals released a lot of dust and chemicals in the air, again causing pollution. But the lockdown made reduction in this, and that has played a major role in improving the air quality. Now I want to show you a few pictures of the NCR region before the lockdown and now during the lockdown. Yamuna Bank, India Gate and Connaught Place. There's a huge difference in the air quality. The AQI of Delhi as an air quality index of Delhi before the lockdown as in 2019 was very poor, being 377. But because of the lockdown, it has changed and become moderate 154. Due to the pollution, there was a hole in the ozone layer. Until the year 2019, it was 16.3 million square kilometers big. But because of the reduction of pollution to the pandemic forced lockdown, the ozone layer is actually recovering and the hole is reduced to 1 million square kilometers. But what all damage can air pollution do to the body? Study tells that air pollution can affect a person's heart by damaging the inside walls of blood vessels. It can also cause breathing problems. Air pollution can permanently affect vascular structures in the brain. And humans know that air pollution can affect the heart, the lungs and brain. Then why is it that nobody is making a change? I hope you noticed, but in the first slide, this picture was shown, and this is a newspaper article of February 14, 2013, air pollution, 5th largest killer in India. Since February 14, 2013 to 2019, 6 years it has been, and air pollution is at its worst it can be in India. Now, because of the lockdown, we have clean air. But what would be the scenario after the lockdown opens? When the lockdown ends, people will be back on the roads, industrial activities will resume, people will start traveling, people may start using their own transport still in fear of getting infected by the virus, and the demand for fuel may increase if there are more vehicles on the road, resulting in more emission of harmful gases. So after all, if there's so much of pollution, then we are back to square one. Then that is when this big question comes, that how will we sustain clean air? Therefore, the pandemic has actually taught us that we should maintain social distance but stay connected with the world at home. But what all can be done online? What all can be done at home? Schooling can be done from home. Office work, conference meetings and exhibitions are now done virtually. We can shop online. We can watch movies at home. We can do payments from home. And we can socialize at home. All of this can be done at home because of the technology we have. Now I would like to end my presentation with a quote. Every dark cloud has a silver lining. Every bad situation has something good in it. Thank you. Stay home, stay safe, and yes, happy World Environment Day.
I'm just speechless, Jara, on your presentation.
Thank you so much.
Some of the people on the Facebook comment box are saying that you are a CEO in making. I would say you are a chief environment officer in making. And
Thank you.
you should become the chief environment officer of something,
Thank
of your own home, of your own school, of your own life, and make this message of good air, good environment, which all can be, we all can make that reach everyone whom you get in touch with. Thank you so much for your wonderful words and for your time today.
Thank
Let's hear more good airs ambassadors.
So now we have Dyuti Jain from Bal Bharati Public School, Rohini. Over to you, Dyuti.
Hello everyone, this is Dyuti Jain of class 10th from Bal Bharati Public School, Rohini. I would like to begin with a quote. ये धरा भी वही है और ये अंबर भी, ये धरा भी वही है और ये अंबर भी, खेल तो बस इन सपनों का है, फर्क तो बस इतना ही है, फर्क तो बस इतना ही है कि तुझे बड़ी इमारतों से लगाव है और मुझे दिल्ली की हवा में सिर्फ एक तारे की तलाश. Coming back to the topic, which is good air. Good air sounds like a rare museum piece, isn't it? It's true actually. True for me and for my generation, who have always seen the good air present in an air purifier advertisement. But suddenly, to our surprise, the world is slowly changing and the natural purifier is back to its work. You're smart enough to know what I'm talking about. Yeah, the lockdown, whatever happens, happens for good, is sounding to be true now. For the COVID crisis happened to contribute to the good air. Hey, I heard you. You want me to give an example, right? Well, did you see those patrolling cars or those polluting vehicles locked in the garage at your home? They are not out. See? In this fancy world of globalization and modernization, this one was a much needed. Hence, it wouldn't be wrong to say that lockdown has contributed miracle to these skies. No, it's not me saying this. It's the headline of an e-newspaper sheet, which stated that in the transportation and industrial location, air quality has improved about 60%. I hope you really appreciate as what 60% means when it comes to the world's 5th most polluted nation, India. I would like to now bridge my thoughts towards the reality, and I'd like to continue further by saying that the land was divided, the water was divided, but this air was never divided. Maybe with a thought and a belief that it would be judiciously shared and be protected by all. Unfortunately, this did not happen, for I thought it was your responsibility and you thought it to be mine. I wonder the last time I danced in rain. Rain, which comes right from the head of the air, secretly good air. But mom doesn't allow me to go upstairs and dance in those droplets now, for those have gone bad now. But then I realized how selfish creatures are we. I mean, we never want to think, talk, or even speak about anything which did not affect us. In other words, something has to destroy us so that we stop destroying it. Someone has correctly quoted that Earth has enough resources to meet the needs of all its people, but not enough resources to meet the greed of even one. Now you might be feeling really cursed and frustrated about whatever I said about human beings, but that's the truth. And the responsible ones now might be thinking, oh, okay, this is the situation. How can I contribute towards the good air? However, in contrast, some might be thinking, okay, the nature is self-cleansing itself. We don't need to interrupt. To those, I want to add up that air and we both are an exclusive part of the nature cycle. Both need to protect and support each other in order to let the life on the earth going. After all, you can't deny the fact that karma has hit us on face. No, I'm not talking about your aunt karma. I'm talking about karma, which portrays the idea of getting what you do to others. First, we exploited the air, and now it is exploiting us. Similarly, if we tend to help it, it would help us back. If we tend to save it, it will save us back. Now the question arises, how can we help the nature? For those who already have some plants or trees at home, I request them to water that regularly or maybe daily as per your requirements. And those who don't have one, don't worry. You can grow one at home. Here's a DIY trick for you. Do you like tomatoes? You can grow a tomato plant at home. Just take some round pieces of tomato and stuff it into the soil. After a few days or so, you can see the plant growing. And I don't need to specify the advantages of having a tomato plant at home. Concluding, I would like to say that it's not the air which has to change. It's we who need to. Signing off, this is Duty Jain.
Wonderful message, Duty. It is not the air that need to change. It is we who need to change. And whether we call it karma, whether we call it what we have sowed, we are reaping. But this is the fact of the life today, that we are facing one of the biggest existential threat for humanity. Whether it was our negligence towards this planet or whether it was designed that way. But it is the time for all of us to make sure that whatever have gone wrong need to be corrected now. Thank you so much for your wonderful thoughts. Let's hear our two more air ambassadors for this evening.
So the next we have is Arpita Garg from Manavsthali School. Over to you, Arpita.
Thank you, ma'am. When India shut down and put off all the transport containing the spread of coronavirus, the skies over its polluted cities quickly cleared and the air turned fresh. COVID-19 has brought unusual environment changes like cleaner air, lower carbon emission, and breathable wildlife. Hello everyone, I'm Arpita Garg of class 10, Manavsthali School. I have never seen such blue skies in Delhi. I mean, I'm just 15 years of age, and this is the first time ever I'm seeing such clear and blue skies. In fact, I always heard my parents saying that sky has turned grey and it wasn't the same as when they were young. So this is really something new for me to witness. I hope it stays like this forever. Putting on mask is altogether a different thing, but I can feel the freshness in the air when I spend time peeping out from my balcony or when I am on my terrace. This lockdown may have brought many restrictions with it, but yes, it is equally true that Mother Nature seems to be quite happy and blooming. Obviously, this is not most ideal way to put down the air pollution, but yes, it gives us a lot of encouragement and hope that we can do it. In fact, we should use this outbreak of coronavirus as a learning lesson for all of us. When we come out of this outbreak, it would be really interesting to see if we invest money in cleaner future, or are we really going back to the old fossil fuel-based industries? I mean, it would be really distressing from my side if we make the same mistake again using coal and non-renewable energy. Every action, public policy, or strategy should be analyzed with nature in mind, and I guess the production of energy is a good starting point. When the whole country was put on hold due to lockdown, it reflected how much impact as we human beings are imposing on our environment. So whether we blame it on crop residue burning, burning firecrackers, industrial activities, or deforestation, one thing that is central to all these activities is that we humans are doing all this and we need to stop it now. Well, there is a certain segment of our work which can work from home, like IT employees, some HR consultants, and knowledge workers. It's time now to really look at a remote work program, because this is not just about working. We need to focus on healthy working conditions now. And it's time we realize that we cannot survive in such soaring pollution level. It is better to work from home rather than carrying oxygen cylinders to work. I hope this virus helps us to stop to move out in fight climate changes and other challenges, rather than taking us back. Ultimately, whether this pandemic is good or bad for the environment depends not on virus but on humanity. We must give absolute priority to the protection of nature. Thank you all for listening me so patiently.
Thank you so much, Arpita, for your wonderful thoughts on how we are going to not again spoil our air, our nature. Thanks. We are running short of time, so I would quickly request our last air ambassador for this evening. And we definitely not looking for, we are going to have so many new young ambassadors for good air, but last among 10 selected for today to share their thoughts.
So we not have one, but we have two more. So the next is Aditya Malhotra from Alcon Public School. Over to you, Aditya.
Ma'am, is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
Thank you, ma'am. Oh no, we don't like this kind of life, said Mask. Hello everyone, myself Aditya Malhotra from class 11th of Alcon Public School, Mayur Vihar, Phase 1. In today's scenario, the biggest and the most threatening problem is pollution, pollution and pollution. Talking specifically of air pollution, it is not only affecting the people directly, it's actually affecting our nature. Or else, I should quote, it's destroying our nature. Imagine a day when you cannot go outside your house without wearing an oxygen mask. Imagine a day when you look out of your window and you cannot see a single plant. Imagine a day when this only life supporting planet will no more be able to sustain life anymore. As a matter of fact, about the Delhi's air pollution, which reminds me of former US President Mr. Barack Obama. Once he said, air pollution is not a way longer thing to happen. It is happening here and it's happening continuously. It is happening here and it's happening continuously. Let's have a look on some facts about Delhi. According to the reports of 2019, Delhi is the most polluted city with an AQI of 527. Delhi's average AQI is around 101 to 200 between January to September, but it drastically deteriorates to very poor 300 to 400 or severe 400 to 500 or hazardous 500th level during the October to December due to various factors like road dust, vehicles and industry emissions. Well, in any other states in India, children usually have summer break, winter break, but in Delhi, any guesses? Parali pollution break. During October to November, the AQI of Delhi shoots up to more than 15% of the level estimated by WHO. Delhi, with an estimated population of 1.9 crores, out of which 31 lakhs are the school-going children, are badly, severely affected by this pollution level. Around 12 lakhs are the senior citizens, which too are affected. And yes, I should say, we don't have enough resources to deal with the situation. Delhi alone loses around 80 lives to air pollution every day. Dr. Trihan of well-known Medanta Hospital, Gurgaon, once showed a pic. One, a heart from Delhi and other, a healthy heart from Chhattisgarh. And my friends, you can just see the difference in this pic. This shows that the world is developing at the cost of environment, and in the view of modernization, the emission levels are immensely going up. Air pollution causes global warming, which leads to an imbalance of the natural cycle and is changing the world's climate rapidly. Ozone layer depletion due to air pollution allows the UV rays to enter our atmosphere, causing various kinds of diseases. It is also melting the glaciers, which in turn is the reason of many floods and also is decreasing the level of fresh water available. If we need our future generations to grow up in a healthy environment, we have to look for solutions. And I mean it because, according to the WHO's reports, approximately 7 million people die every year due to air pollution, and out of every 10 people, 9 people in this world are breathing polluted air. So friends, firstly, Every citizen should take the responsibility of contributing their bit to protect our earth and make the right choice. We need to stop cutting trees, adopt public transport for longer, and for shorter, we need to use the bicycles. A pandemic should never be a way for Mother Earth to heal herself. It should not be only 5th June to be celebrated as Environment Day. Every day should be celebrated as Environment Day. Every day should be nurtured to nurture the nature. Live and let live is the nature's call for today. So now let's take a pledge to protect our nature. We will make our earth pollution free by giving the importance for everyone to plant a tree. Make this determination and you will see the world a better place for you and me. Well, life has changed now and it's not possible without a mask, so I may put on my mask again. Keep social distancing, stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Aditya. You have made wonderful presentation, at the same time have given very impactful message. And every day should definitely be celebrated, observed, followed as Environment Day, as a day when we need to give back to this planet. Let's go ahead for other good air ambassador of this evening.
So the last young warrior we have is Kovida Bhardwaj from GPS Rohini. Over to you, Kovida.
So a very happy Environment Day to everybody. I am Kovida Bhardwaj from Delhi Public School, Rohini. I would call myself an observer, but not a passive one. I would rather call myself a believer in the power of revolution and change. On this platform, I would like to put forward my views on air pollution and to generalize it more on the idea of global climate change and the impact of the COVID-19 lockdown on it. So the last few months of this grave predicament have actually given us a very positive message from the earth. It has taught us that merely a few months of reduced human activity can make the earth breathe. Now we all know that this lockdown will end soon and we may get back to square one. The only way to sustain both our economic activities and our responsibilities towards the environment is to strive balance. The only haven't been able to achieve as yet is the lack of innovation and will. Now we all have noted this unwanted inverse relationship between economic development and our responsibilities towards nature. The reason for this is that our industries and our economies are very reliant on fossil fuels, which are very harmful for the environment. For example, take this lockdown. The only reason why we have reduced air pollution is because of reduced industrial activity. On one hand, our economy will suffer, and on the other hand, our environment will breathe. But we do not want that to be so. Does this mean that we should permanently shut down our industries and not carry out economic activities at all? Not at all. There's always a way. So one of the suggestions which I would like to put forward as a citizen is that we should focus on our renewable energy industries. So that would be a way in which we can balance both the aspects. Having renewable energy industries will enable us to carry out sustainable development as well as develop our economy. Why do we just need Tesla as a company which can manufacture e-cars? Why not us? Why don't we take the initiative? Secondly, I would like to put forward my aspect on the political side. We should bring out decentralization of these methods. Just implementing them on the top level will not enable the entire country or the entire planet to benefit from it. We need a top-down approach where the benefits of these efforts can reach the grassroots level. Then I would like to say that innovating in many ways is very, very important. Now, I came across these really interesting pictures on social media handles, and I would like to share them with everybody. Now, this was a very interesting picture I saw, which clearly shows the balance between an urban lifestyle and our duties towards nature. So They could have chosen to cut this tree down and let the house be built in its normal way. But according to me, this tree doesn't really seem to be blocking this house. In fact, it actually enhances the beauty of the house. And imagine what a fresh air they would breathe in the house. Then I have another interesting picture I found, like this one. Now, this is how roads should be built, don't you think? They could have tried to eradicate this entire forest, and it would all have been like a regular highway. But they let the forest be there and beautifully managed and gave us this very important message of peaceful coexistence. Now, this proves that economic activities need not be carried out in isolation. Both the things can be balanced together. Then I came across this quote where imagine if we would plant trees in place of graves. What a beautiful earth this would be, and what a beautiful message would be conveyed if we bring out these activities in our daily lives. Now, therefore, I think that this lockdown is enough for us to implement 2 A's. Now, this is my motto to encourage good development in both areas, in our responsibilities towards nature and the economy as well. The 2 A's are acceptance and act. Now, the first A, acceptance, is the most crucial element of my idea, which is to accept the fact that environment is something which we need to pay attention to. We need to accept. Most of the times in schools, we are told to act, but till the time we do not accept the fact that this is a problem big enough, we will not get the motivation to act on it. So this lockdown is a very good time, I think, for us to first sit and accept that this is a problem and then to act accordingly. And then nothing can stop us from ensuring that the earth will be a beautiful place. Now, this situation of this lockdown, this actually showed us our future potential. Pessimism is no longer going to be an excuse to ignore the environment. Now, change is clearly possible. Lastly, I would like to quote a few lines from Zia Mirza's poem she spoke today. Now, the poem goes like this. अब हम जब निकले घर से, तो धरती को मत फिर से धोखा दे. नेचर नहीं देगा बर्बादी का कोई भी इनविटेशन फॉर्मल. धरती को नहीं चाहिए हमारा वही पुराना नॉर्मल. Let's bring back the real essence of our earth. Let's realize the fact that it's all for us. And issues like poverty and hunger, they all will be solved only once we have a safe planet to live on. So let's prioritize and let's think more rationally, and let's fulfill our duties. And just small steps from our side can make a huge change. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Kovida, for your wonderful thought. And nothing could have been better conclusion of today's session with our young ambassadors than to look for striking a balance between our material need and our responsibility towards environment. You have shown some wonderful examples, and I'm sure that the session which is following with this, we are going to take those messages forward and discuss with some of the key policy makers, influencers, and thought leaders that how we are going to strike this perfect balance. So viewers, after hearing these powerful thoughts of our young ambassadors of good air, I'm finding myself almost speechless. The power of their imagination, clarity of thoughts, and vision for future is outrightly stunning and inspiring. So we have heard those who are the biggest stakeholders of our future. And now it's turn to hear from leaders of today who influence in shaping our actions today. Let me welcome our speakers today. We have our guest of honor, Honorable Justice Swatantra Kumar, former chairperson of National Green Tribunal. Justice Kumar, in his tenure as NGT chief, has passed several landmark orders and judgments, which has made what NGT is today. He is credited to make NGT a real active watchdog of environment related issues and has contributed most in taking environment consciousness to not only every part of government and industries, but also to the people of India. Welcome, Justice Kumar, for your time today joining us for this session. We have another very important authority in the area of air and its impact on health. Let me welcome Dr. Sandeep Salvi, Director, Pulmocare Research and Education, Pure Foundation. Dr. Salvi has been the founder director of reputed Chest Research Foundation since 2002. Undoubtedly the most authentic voice on public health impact of air pollution. Dr. Salvi has joined us today from Pune. Our third speaker for the evening is Mr. Suyash Gupta, Director General and Founder Trustee of Indian Auto LPG Coalition and Managing Director of Clean Fuel India Autogas. Mr. Gupta is a man with a mission of promoting cleaner fuel for greener planet. So welcome all of you on this very special session, and you all, I believe Justice Sudant Kumar also get a little bit chance to hear some of our young ambassadors. Mr. Gupta has been with us since the beginning of the program, and I could also see Dr. Salvi was there. Let me begin with Justice Kumar with you. You administered the oath for good air in November at our Good Air Summit in Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium, where 2,500 children assembled to take the oath of good air and promised that they will do their bit to improve the quality of air, the health of our Mother Nature. Today, when we are living under this pandemic and we have experienced something was completely unimagined, unprecedented, the cleanest air days in Delhi. What is your reaction? How did you see that? You have always been fighting to clean the air of this national capital. What was your experience when you saw those cleaner air days, sir?
Well, am I audible to all of you, please?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Firstly, let me thank all concerned for inviting me to this talk this afternoon. And what impresses me more is that you've organized it so well and the topic is so vital. Now, there is no doubt about it that today we have an air quality which probably Delhi has not seen for years now. But see, this is out of a very sad experience, a very compulsive need that has come out. I don't think we need to compliment ourselves for bringing this clean air, the clean sky, and seeing stars in Delhi, trying to, being what Delhi must be sometime. And definitely, I have seen Delhi in 60s when I came here for the first time in the same way. But see, this COVID-19 has really changed the style of life of people, not across Delhi, but across globe. So, today the air quality here, I would be talking about when you want me to speak. I will tell you the kind of difference of ambient air quality that we have in Delhi presently. See, it is most important for these young children of today that they must have clean, healthy air. So these days, from that health point of view, definitely are very appreciable that you have an air quality which you can breathe without fear, without thought of falling sick. But at what cost? That's the very big question we have. So, and I wanted to know from you that do you want me to continue my talk or do you want me to just answer this and stop for a while?
Sir, you can continue. You can share your experience because, as you said, you have seen Delhi in 60s when it was all like this, or maybe better than this. You have seen this national capital getting deteriorated year on year, and despite best of the efforts from people like you, we could not see much change. Maybe the implementation might have not been that great, or public participation might have not have been that effective. So we would definitely like to hear more from you that how do you saw those change and what you see that is going to be a way forward for us. Definitely we are not going to trade it for what is there outside today, but how we are going to become a contributor to that, we would like to hear from you.
Okay. So I would take the time that I had promised you that I'll speak for 15 minutes and on, and I will conclude that. Now see, let's first examine the environmental sphere or the environmental scenario in law, what we have. Our constitution gives environment a very high pedestal treatment. It terms it as one of the most important aspects of the constitutional law in our country, which is one amongst probably rare nations around the world. Now, see, when we talk of the Environmental Protection Act, as you know, there are two main acts which will act. One would be the Air Pollution, Prevention of Air Pollution Act, and the second would be the Environmental Protection Act. Now, under the Air Act and the Environmental Protection Act, if you see the definition of environment, the framers of law has applied such wisdom that they give it a width and a dimension which is fantastic. Not only air, land, earth, and forests were covered under the environment, but everything was covered under the environment, and it stated that even a relationship between land, air, water, and the living beings, which meant even trees, which meant even small fly, the interrelation between them was covered under the environment. So that is what is sought to be protected under our laws, that you should protect your environment, the natural resources, and your every aspect which will affect a human life from any point of view of environment. So that was the definiteness which was given. So I feel that we have to be very thankful for the framers to the law. Just coming straight to your topic of air pollution now. When we talk of air pollution in Delhi, as I told you, in 60s, 70s, nobody talked of air pollution in Delhi. I'm sure about it because I was a law student at that time. So nobody, like you, people are holding now seminar, the conferences, nobody ever talked about air pollution because it really didn't exist at that time. And even if it existed, it was a very restricted zones of Delhi, which concerned, like where there were thermal plants, there was a little concern, but there was nothing of the kind that masses were not able to breathe, and the children were not asked to go to school with masks on. You don't know what masks are doing to the children. I am not very sure scientifically. I hope some expert can throw some light. To my common sense view, it says it is not healthy to wear a mask 24 hours, all the clock, because it itself will become a source of infection to your respiratory tracts and upper respiratory tracts. So I have my reservations on that, but some expert would be the right person to say. What I want to say is that if we talk, our Delhi got the name of the worst polluted city being in the world. So, which was, touching PM 2.5 at 120, 110 MD per. But that was when I think it was shocking that we could live in that kind of a environment. Now today, I'm just trying to get through to it, is that today the value of PM 2.5 is 27, and which probably I'm sure all the elders in my age group would not have heard it for at least last 15, 20 years, that there was value was 27. Now see, this comparative difference which has come from 120 to 27, and then whether you talk of NOxes, whether you talk of SO2 or you talk of PM10, all values were being violated with impunity. And it was true for most part of our country. That was so. Now see, the temperature, which they say is directly, atmospheric temperature is directly concerned, and it is depending on the concentration of the greenhouse gases. So the discharges and the collection of greenhouse gases is rising by the day, and that's how the scientists believe that you are trying to have, higher atmospheric temperature causing concern. Now this is affecting the agriculture, day-to-day life, the industries, the lifestyle of the people in our country. So everything is changing because of the climate change, the greenhouse gases coming. I had mentioned it earlier, we are 700 years back in India, greenhouse gases were talked about when nobody talked about it in the world. And they provided the means. How do you control? How do you regulate greenhouse gases? How must you control emissions at all levels of the earth? Now, the short thing is that you have to tackle this issue. It's a very serious issue, and we have to tackle it from a very simple day-to-day living point of view. You don't need wonders to correct, as you have seen now. What has happened? Just as I said that this pandemic has caused, humanitarily a chaos, a kind of very big blow to the globe. But have we done anything very special to clean the environment? No. We have only stopped interfering with the nature unnecessarily. I have somebody had sent me the video of Gangaji from Hardwar. You can just drink that water. You don't have to think. It's as clean as Gangaji used to be. Now, what has happened to that? Nothing. That you stop throwing the discharge into it, filth into it, and you are conscious that you will not interfere with the flow of the river. That's all. So that's what we've done in air pollution now. Therefore, what I think is that some things that have happened during this present time would be, in a way, good to follow. We might have learned the hard way, but good things of the hard times can always be applied and made part of our day-to-day life in the coming times. Now, I would first be able to give you an idea of, because the ambient air quality of a place is directly relevant to the standard of life in a society. If your lifestyle, if your life in a society has to be healthy, you have to have an ambient air quality which is completely free of pollutants. Now see, you may be having anything in this world, but you have to breathe. You may be getting down off a Mercedes car, but once you get down, you have to breathe. And even in Mercedes, sitting inside, you will only bring out what is existing outside. You can't, no car can produce oxygen by itself so far. But the day may not be far that you will have oxygen cylinders fixed in the cars also for people to breathe. So that will be a very bad day, according to me. So today what we are doing is that we are trying to push the natural, I was just reading an article from the professors in, I think, if it not, I forget which university, but a great university in USA, where he has said that the results are that we are interfering with the nature too much and we have invited the crisis. So that is his view. I don't know, right, wrong, scientists can comment better on it. But I just want to say that since it has a direct relation to the health of the society with the health of the air quality, therefore, n number of diseases are generated because of bad ambient air quality. Your entire body structure can change if you are not having healthy air to breathe. So we need to gift our children at least one thing very surely is the healthy, clean air so that they are living happily. Now, I would say that certain things you should definitely not do. If we want to keep our air quality healthy, there are certain things we must not do at any cost. First is stop burning waste. It's the most dangerous thing for air pollution. If you burn a plastic, it is straight away carcinogenic element in the air. So you cannot afford to burn waste of any kind. You must stop that. Second is that you must not create a traffic chaos. Traffic congestions will inevitably lead to greater pollutants being present in the air quality. Industrial emissions must be controlled. Then the other very important aspect is that what we must do, what should be done definitely, and I do agree with one of the young ambassadors of yours, that first is we must protect our forests and natural resources. Because if we do not let the forests survive, if we start substituting, destroying our forest, raising concrete jungles, then you be sure you're not going to have oxygen no matter how hard you try. The second thing is the better hygiene. Now, see, for example, during these days, we have had a better hygiene habits. Everybody's suddenly become very environmental conscious. No, I must wash my hands. I should have sanitizers around. I must not throw the waste outside. So these are good things that have happened. So we must carry on good hygiene habits further. They should not stop by God's grace. I hope this comes to an end early. But the habits which we have learned, because they are a contributor to air. See, if I throw waste outside, if I don't take care of hygiene, then automatically I'm adding to air pollution. Maybe out of smell, maybe out of burning, maybe out of throwing the waste on the streets or whatever it is. Then you have to do is that you must control emissions within the permissible limits. All emissions of different kind must be controlled under the law. Then we must have precautionary compliances to the precautionary guidelines, instructions. For example, combined with will be, you should obey the law, rules, regulations, instructions. Now see, scientists conduct researches, they give you results. Parliament or the subordinate legislative bodies apply their mind and they give you certain instructions. For example, what are the air quality standards you should maintain? If you are running a waste to energy plant, if you are having an industry, if you are having a thermal plant, if you have a steel plant, if you are running a small, unit, how will you maintain it? So we must respect the law. The intention should be to obey the law and do it. And the next very important for our living is that we must regulate our traffic. By regulation of traffic, there are different modes which can be operated upon, and the traffic should be regulated. We should respect the traffic laws so that traffic congestions are not there. And we must have small things. Why should we overload our vehicles? Why should a truck carry weight of 3 trucks in one truck and release emissions which are totally beyond permissible limits? Then you have that the compliance to law. And if we do all these things together, construction activity, for example, we must comply with protecting that no dust elements are sent into the open airs. If you are a builder, you're building a 10 crore, 20 crore flat, why can't you take precautions and ensure that dust doesn't travel, that you control the dust emissions? We don't say don't stop. I certainly am not a propounder of the theory that development is injurious per se to environment. No. Sustainable development and precautionary principle invoked should always lead to a good element of progress. So therefore, you should take precautions. You can simply take precautions. If you have a flat of 20 crore, that means your total flats of 4 crore, around about 80 lakhs, 100 crores. If a 100 crore project under you, why can't you spend just few lakhs on emission controls? You can do it. So you should do it so that the children walking around there, they don't consume dust. And they have done no sin. You want to make profit. Doesn't matter if you make 4 lakhs less. But that also you will pass on to the buyer. So I think you need to obey the law. So these are the few do's and don'ts which I think are important for an air pollution and control of air pollution in our country. And if you see, not only I have the list of the countries, every country is flouting the prescribed ambient air quality standards. There are very few of them who can obey. And now see, we have, look at the international importance. Whether we talk of Kyoto Protocol, whether we talk of Montreal, whether we talk of Paris Agreement of 17, or we talk of Stockholm, everything has led to a healthy life to humanity as such. So if you can't give two things, that is the clean air and clean water, I think any person would have failed in its duty. And in our constitution, there's a duty on the citizen, on the government to protect your environment, keep the air clean. And I definitely feel that the children of today and the coming generation of young children deserves a much better, healthier environment than what we are giving them currently. And I'm happy to know that today the younger generation is more aware about environmental protection than probably we were when we were of even elder age to them. When we were of their age, there was no environmental problems. But now probably the development and so-called industrialization and so-called progress has led to some conflicts of environment. And as you have seen now you have the wildlife going around in the cities and human beings in the caves. So that's a theory of nature. That's why they say never fiddle with nature, respect nature. Thank you all for this great opportunity, and I would be excusing myself because I have a commitment of that. And thank you so much. Namaskar to everybody, please.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time. And definitely you touched upon all the points, and I'm sure you would be very happy. A lifelong struggle to work towards environment-oriented policies, bringing people to the task to make sure that they comply with the rules and laws. And I'm sure you would be very happy when you see Delhi air getting better. And I'm sure that this is not to be a credit given to the people as of now, but the people of city and this country will also rise to the occasion. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Salvi. Thank you, Mr. Gupta, and everybody else present. Thank you. And thank you, Narayan, for your good gestures.
Thank you.
Okay.
Dr. Salvi
Yes.
and Mr. Gupta, two very important aspects of air pollution. I know we are running a little late. We gave a little bit more time to the kids, so I'm sure you would not mind, and we'll try to stretch a little bit to complete our discourse today. Two very important aspects came out. One is definitely the health burden which is caused by this air pollution or any other kind of pollution. And the other important aspect, that what are the main contributors to this pollution. And there, Mr. Gupta, your inputs are going to be very important, because as touched upon by Justice Kumar and many of our young ambassadors also, vehicles are under the scanner for contributing pollution in at least city like India. Dr. Salvi, I would like to get your thoughts and your insights. What is the burden of health we are facing because of air pollution in our country? Since you have been working for very long in this area, enlighten us that we can understand what all lies, what all is coming on us because our negligence towards nature.
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to this wonderful meeting, especially with the young kids. I hope they're listening to this, because I'm going to tell them some very, very fascinating facts.
They are, sir.
The first thing that you do when you're born is you take your first breath. And the last thing that you do before you die is you take your last breath. Life is a period between the first breath and the last breath. Breath is life. Isn't that fascinating? Because life is defined as somebody who can take a breath. When you're in the mother's womb, you're not considered to be life, because you cannot take your own breath. So life starts with the first breath. Why do we need to breathe? It's a very important question, and I don't think many people really understand the importance of this. We breathe because it nourishes our body with oxygen. Why is oxygen so important for the human body? Because it generates 90% of the body's energy. 90%. Only 10% of the energy comes from the food that we eat and the water that we drink. 90% comes from the air that we breathe. And I think that is so crucial for our understanding that air is absolutely crucial for our survival. You can live without food for a few days or a few weeks. You can live without water for a few days, but you cannot live without air for more than a few seconds. And that is because oxygen is absolutely vital for our survival. Let me give you a very interesting thought process to this. What does a car run on? Was a question that I asked one of the young students. And the answer immediately was, a car runs on petrol or diesel. Really? Is there anything else that a car needs so that it can travel from point A to point B? Other than petrol or diesel, does it need anything else? Then the thinking starts. Yes, it requires air, because you need to combust the fuel to produce that energy. The next question was, how much volume of air is required to burn 1 liter of fuel? And the answer is, nobody knows this answer, because nobody ever thought about it. I did that search and I was surprised that 1 liter of petrol or diesel requires 9,000 liters of air. 9,000 liters of air. Out of which 1,000 liters is the oxygen that it utilizes. Now, if I give a value for the oxygen that you breathe, and you go to the Amazon website and type in what is the cost of oxygen per liter, and it will say you've got those oxygen cylinders. They cost 30 rupees a liter of oxygen. So when you burn that 1 liter of fuel in your car or your four-wheeler, you spend about 75 rupees on petrol. But if oxygen was not available for you, you would have spent 50,000 rupees only to use that oxygen to combust the fuel. Now, isn't that fascinating? We do not have value for the oxygen that we have so freely available in the environment, because we don't have to pay for it. Whereas you have to pay money for the petrol or the diesel. So you have value for it. And that's the sad part. We don't have value for the air that is so very crucial for our survival. On a daily basis, the human body needs to burn 1,000 liters of oxygen, pure oxygen. And for this, all of you all who are listening to this talk, all of you all are breathing 10,000 liters of air every day. That is the volume of air that the human body requires to keep ourselves fit and well. The lung is the main organ that nourishes the body with oxygen. So it's the entry of oxygen into your body comes from the lungs. The lungs are the ones who soak in the oxygen that is present in the air. And if the air that you breathe is polluted, either with gaseous pollutants or particulate matter pollutants, the first organ that gets affected is your lung. So the 10,000 liters of air that you breathe is actually 10,000 liters of polluted air that you breathe. And that polluted air causes damage to the lung. It has been found that Indians have the worst quality lungs amongst all the people living on this planet. There is a very big study done a few years ago that compared the lung function values of people living in different parts of the world. And a very sorry state of affairs, we Indians have the smallest or the weakest lungs amongst all the people living on this planet. We have weaker lungs than even the Africans. We have weaker lungs than even the Asian, the Southeast Asians and the other Asian population. And I believe that is because we are not breathing good quality air. We're breathing polluted air continuously. And that is what is damaging our lungs. Not only does air pollution damage the lungs, the air pollution enters into the circulation from the lungs and affects all other organs of the body, including your brain, including your heart, including your kidneys, including your liver, and including your bony system as well. Air pollution affects every single organ of the body. Now, if you look at the most common diseases that are affected because of air pollution, everybody would say it's the lungs. Yes, the lungs is the main organ that is affected, but that is not the only organ. In fact, if you take 100 people who are affected because of air pollution, the lung will contribute to only about 30 of them. The remaining 50, the remaining 70, out of the remaining 70, 50 of them is the affection of the heart and the brain. And the remaining 20 is because of the kidneys and the other parts of the body. So the heart is another big organ that is affected because of air pollution. Not only the lungs, the heart is second.
Thank you so much, doctor. Actually, you have said so many fascinating things that I'm not, able to stop, thinking on it. And also, some questions are coming up. The important aspect is that you have very well defined that, what is the health cost of air pollution. And it is not only impacting the lungs, it is the entire body. But when you are saying that the maximum consumption of oxygen, I believe, is being done in cities like Delhi, maybe by the vehicles, as you said, 90,000 liters of air to burn 1 liter of fuel. And we human require 10,000 liters of oxygen or air for the whole day. I think this is, the other part is massive. Suyas Gupta ji works in the area of bringing cleaner fuel for vehicles, which is one of the biggest, the chunk of pollution contributed. I believe, multiple studies shows multiple numbers, but Mr. Gupta will tell better. Mr. Gupta, what is the way forward to stop or reduce the clean air being polluted by our vehicles?
Thank you, Kamalji. And of course, before I begin my intervention, again, big compliments. I've enjoyed first the kids giving wonderful and very pragmatic solutions to the issues we face today. And then Justice Kumar, I've always been very enamored by the way and the lucid way he gives his messages. And of course, Dr. Salvi, these have been tremendous figures. I'm going to quote these figures in terms of the requirements, we were not aware of these key facts. I'll take back to, I'll quickly come to what Justice Kumar said. He talked about okay, we can have aspirational goals that, but 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, 30 years down the line, we are going to do this. But what are the low-hanging fruits available today? And this is, what in all these years have we been trying to push, that let's look at what we can do today. He talked about, let's stop burning waste today. Let's, let's look at low-hanging fruits. And those low-hanging fruits will have an impact today in a huge way. And I'm linking it to the COVID scenario. The Prime Minister gave a call, Jan Bhi. The first it was, life first. And then the call was Jan Bhi and Jahan Bhi. But again, this was given in context of COVID. And I guess it is imperative for us to look at the Jan Bhi and Jahan Bhi narrative from the point of view from air. And it would be very interesting, Dr. Salvi, to maybe, if we can get some statistics, not in terms of infections, but in terms of how many deaths have been caused by COVID and how many deaths have been caused by air quality. And I wouldn't be surprised that the number of deaths from air quality would far be more than the number of deaths from COVID-19. But again, this narrative needs to be carried on. And in terms of how can automotive sector help, and how can the government work with the automotive sector to ensure that we are able to provide cleaner air to our urban areas and rural areas all at the soonest. We're looking at electric vehicles. We're looking at, let me also, I'll also link to what Justice Kumar said. The clean air movement really started in India with the MC Mehta judgment. This was in early 2000s. And then CNG came in, and then methanol came in, and methanol came in again. And now when Niti Aayog has come, and it's now the blue-eyed boy. Then E85 came in, E10 came in, ethanol. So we have been in a flux of which fuel goes first, which fuel goes later. And we are forever in a state of, on a drawing board, and always talking about aspirational goals, that what can we achieve 30 years down the line, rather than what can we achieve in 6 months, and what can we achieve in 1 year, 2 years, and provide a breathable air to our citizens, not just in Delhi, across the country. Air quality levels, Kamalji, you sent out this message today. Again, 14 of the top 15 global cities in terms of pollution are from India. And again, I'm an asthmatic, Dr. Selvi, and I can feel the pain and I can feel the change. In the last few days, the number of, I carry that salbutamol inhalers with me. They've fallen by 80%. My consumption. So it's not something which is only a statistical thing. It is impacting people like us every day, and we definitely feel more energetic when the air quality improves. So to answer your question, Kamalji, we need to look at the well-to-wheel emissions. We need to look at low-hanging fruits. That would be my first comment. Low-hanging fruits. What can we do today? Kamalji, you're on mute.
Thank you so much, Suyasji, for your thoughts and your emphasis on we need to look for the low-hanging fruits first. You also raised a question which I would like to ask Dr. Salvi about. Dr. Salvi, some of our young ambassadors also mentioned that the cities or the countries with higher pollution, air pollution, have also seen higher fatalities because of COVID-19.
Absolutely.
Is it going to be a double whammy? We are still amid the pandemic. We have not gone through. I think we have just begun maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it going to take a bigger toll, or is it a double whammy for people who are not fortunate to have cleaner air before pandemic also?
There's a very interesting study reported from the United States by the Harvard University. What they did was they divided the United States into different counties, and then they measured the average air pollution levels in each county for the last 17 years. Okay, so what you've been exposed in the past. So this is the air that determines how healthy your lungs are. It's not the air pollution of today or the air pollution of yesterday. It's the air pollution of the last 17 years. And then they compared that with the number of COVID-19 cases that were present in each of these counties. And to our surprise, or to not a surprise, there was a very strong correlation between the levels of air pollution for the last, averaged over the last 17 years, with the COVID-19 cases. So I think it is going to be a double whammy. What you say is absolutely right. It is going to be unfortunate. If you look at the number of cases of COVID-19 in Delhi, particularly, I think Delhi is now competing with Bombay or other places for the number of diagnosed cases of COVID-19. I suspect that one of the major reasons for that sudden increase in the number of COVID-19 in Delhi could be because of the quality of air that people have breathed over the last so many years in Delhi. So there is a definite correlation between air pollution and COVID-19. A similar association has also been seen in Italy. If you map the country of Italy with average pollution levels, the hot one are in red, the greens are the clean polluted areas, and you draw a map of COVID next to it, they'll just look exactly the same. So the number of cases of COVID is directly proportional to the average air pollution levels in that particular region. So I think India is going to be facing a big challenge. It is not surprising now, if you think about it retrospectively, we still haven't reached the peak. We were hoping that the peak would reach much earlier, but despite having 70 days plus of lockdown, we are still going in the upward direction. And I think it's partly certainly because of the quality of air that we have been breathing over the last so many years.
Thank you so much, Doctor. So this is a fact. You are also endorsing that if we had been exposed to bad air for longer, there are higher chances and risks
absolutely
for our health, and we can't do much about it now. No. Definitely, the time to change that is gone.
Yes.
The only thing is that we can hope to get through this pandemic without much damage. What about, this is not going to be the last pandemic. There may be many more to come in our future. And are we going to make that corrective measure which will help us cope up with the next one better? That's where we need to work on. And for that, Mr. Gupta, as you have been contributing and trying to reduce or trying to advocate people to reduce the vehicular emission caused pollution, what do you think that is going to be in the near future? And as you said, the low-hanging fruits, but the near future is going to be very different. All the air champions have always been talked about public transport, carpooling, lesser vehicles, less private vehicles. But what is happening now is, I think it's a complete different scenario. You can't, or you may perhaps not feel safe in a public transport. Carpooling is no more a go-to thing. And at the same time, there is also a chances that there will be increased number of people buying cars or self-vehicle to come on road because they will feel safe in that. How we are going to work towards mitigating this potential increased risk of emission? And can the automobile industry, the government, the policymaker, regulators do something on this line?
There are two parts to the question, Kamalji. The first part is, yes, there would be a surge on the smaller vehicles, which, the entry-level vehicles, which will hit the roads primarily because people would be skeptical of using shared transport systems. But at the same time, I think that surge is going to be short-lived because of several factors. A is that the overall economy is not doing too great. And there have been a lot of loss of jobs, and the loss of jobs are coming in primarily from that segment, which would have gone in, for these vehicles. But there would definitely be a surge, and I know that several OEMs are, they are stocking up, they are, planning for this surge in terms of the commerce. But to your second question, in terms of how can we minimize the impact of these vehicles, typically the smaller vehicles are also those vehicles which are most cost conscious in terms of the cost of running fuels, the cost of running of the vehicle. And this is where the role of alternate fuels come in. Today, if you look at what are the three options available for India, three credible options. The first two are the gases, which is CNG and LPG, and the third, which the government is trying to promote, is the electric option. I believe electric option is going to take a major hit today. Today, I just saw a tweet from the finance minister that no new schemes to be addressed by ministry in the coming year. That's a big statement because for whatever limited success electric vehicle EV segment has been able to get, has been because of the funding of couple of $1 billion. Now with the limited fiscal space after this 20 lakh crore or whatever the actual amount is, the governments across the globe are grappling with very, very limited fiscal space to turn out goals. And I think electric is going to take a big hit. So what are we left with? Do we wait for 20 years for an impact on air quality? No, we cannot. So what are the credible options today? Something which can be available today is gaseous fuels like natural gas, CNG or LPG. And this is where I think government, we've been pushing government, we've been talking to them that why is it that LPG remains as the third most used fuel globally in terms of alternative fuels. South Korea does 4 million tons. We do 0.4 million tons. Most of these countries, Germany, UK, all these countries have looked at LPG. So it comes back to what I said earlier. Let's not just set very aspirational targets for 30, 40 years, because nobody's going to be around if we don't do something, for today. So that's my comment, Kamalji. We need to look at low-hanging fruits. This is something which is feasible. Let's look at. I have there are several areas, and I'm sure government is now looking at, because OEMs have also now flagged it, that we need to probably push away the EV goalposts. So today, effectively, we are left with very limited space. That's my comment, Kamalji. Let's see. We are very concerned. You're on mute, Kamalji, again. Sorry.
Yeah. So I wanted to take this question to Dr. Salvi. So you said that the entry-level vehicles are, people are conscious about the cost of operating that vehicle, the mileage, the fuel cost and all that. And that's where you are also, agreeing that there's going to be a surge. And you are also proposing a possible solution, which is much more feasible than something like electric vehicle, is to go for a cleaner fuel like LPG or maybe CNG. Dr. Salvi, you said that 1 liter of petrol or maybe diesel needs 90,000 liters.
9,000 liters of air.
9,000 liters of air. Do we also have some study that how much a LPG or CNG takes?
Oh, maybe perhaps Mr. Gupta would be able to answer that. It's an engineering question. If you look at the air fuel ratio, which is the fuel that requires more amount of air, I really do not know the answer for that. But I'll tell you, CNG, when the diesel buses were replaced in Delhi with CNG, everybody believed that we got rid of the most horrible air pollutant. But having said that, there is a concern even with CNG, that CNG produces very, very fine, ultra fine particles, unlike the other fuels that we burn. And the big increase in the number of ultra fine particles, we don't see them. We don't measure them. It's not very easy to measure them as well. So they are perhaps not as safe as what we would call as PM 2.5 or PM1, which are emitted in very high numbers in diesel vehicles. So are we replacing one evil with another evil? I really do not know. We have to think about it very seriously. When you look at it just by visual thing, you see very clean exhaust comes out. but I think it contains a lot more ultrafine particles. And there has been a cause of concern of ultrafine particles on the health of the lungs. So the solution is not very simple. It's a very complicated and a very complex issue that we need to look into very carefully. Now, I just wanted to make a point. We talk about air pollution, and Mr. Gupta talked about the low-hanging fruit. I just want to bring it to the notice of the young children who are listening. Air pollution is not only caused by motor vehicles and industries and so on. A lot of us generate air pollution inside our homes. We call this as household air pollution or indoor air pollution. And just to give you a feel of that, in an urban city, if you burn a mosquito coil, one mosquito coil to get rid of the mosquitoes, one mosquito coil, when you burn over a period of 6 hours, produces as much amount of smoke that is equal to smoking 100 cigarettes. One mosquito coil is equal to 100 cigarettes. So when you sleep in the night, keeping the door and the window closed, keeping that one mosquito coil near your bed to get rid of mosquitoes, you have smoked 100 cigarettes during that night. Every single person in the family has smoked 100 cigarettes. One. If you think you're shocked because of this, let me shock you even more. The dhoop stick, which is only 4 centimeters, it burns only for 15 minutes. One dhoop stick produces as much amount of pollution that is equal to 500 cigarettes, 5 times more than one mosquito coil. So if you're burning a dhoop stick inside your home for the puja purposes or to keep your, for the fragrance in the house, I think you are creating a lot of air pollution inside your house. So burning of agarbattis and all that, I think these are the lowest hanging fruits. You need to be only aware that these are major sources of air pollution inside your house. They produce more levels of air pollution than even what comes from motor vehicles. So I think it is important to be aware. Air pollution is only not from outside, but air pollution also comes from inside your homes. And it's so important to know that.
Thank you so much, Dr. Salvi. You have actually quoted some of the figures which are, astonishing. It's just fascinating as well. And I believe that we need the whole session to talk to you to find out more such important insights of what we may be doing consciously or unconsciously in our homes and in our surroundings, in our cities, in our neighborhoods, which may be causing more damage than just the vehicular pollution. But at the same time, vehicular pollution, dust pollution, or for that matter, the untreated waste, they are all creating a major cocktail of pollution which has bereaved us of clean air for very long, and will continue to do so if we are not waking up now, especially at a time when the nature has jolted us. I would like to close this panel for today, but I'm sure that there is so much to talk about on this, and there is a need of taking this information to each one of us, everyone, every children. And it was wonderful to hear our children today that they are aware, they are thinking of solutions, and they also know that if their previous generation is not acting, it is them who need to act. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us today. Mr. Gupta, Dr. Salvi, and Dr. Salvi, you accepted our invitation in a very short notice. I'm really grateful to you. You all have given wonderful insights. We were getting so many comments and appreciation on Facebook Live, and we look forward to do more in near future, because this discussion of air and its correlation with the COVID-19 is need to be carried forward, and we need to work more on this. Thank you so much, our online viewers today, for your time. You can like, share, and comment on our Facebook page. Stay connected with us for more such insightful, inspiring sessions on health and well-being. Till then, stay at home, keep safe, eat healthy, sleep well, and do not forget to help anyone whom you can help during this pandemic for any of their need, physical, mental health, or by providing food, shelters, or to take care of elderly in your neighborhood. Thank you so much for your time. Goodbye.
Thank you.